Hello, everybody, and welcome to NoCoders Office Hours, episode number 280. I'm your host, Tanya, and I'm here with members Sean and John. We're going to get started in just a moment. If this is your first time tuning in to NoCoders Office Hours, though, what it is we hold 6 Zoom sessions every week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific time, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and Mondays, a second session at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time for at least this part of the year. So if you would like to join us and ask any of the questions you have around Bubble and no code, you can go and sign up at pronocoders.com, sign up for the developer membership, and come on into the Zoom and say hi, because we'd love to meet you and help you out. John, we'll start with you today.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm sorry, did you say John or Sean?
John. Yeah.
They sound quite similar when you say them for some reason, Tanya.
Oh.
I have to rename one of us to something else.
Okay, I'm not taking responsibility for that, but I'm happy to call you whatever you prefer.
Right, so now you'll have to watch carefully, I think, to see the problem. So you know how we sorted out the sorting thing a while ago? It's got there's a few problems with it. It's got a glitch, and then when I've tried to apply the same logic to a different page, it's not working. So let me show you the glitch first. So if I click impression, so at the moment it's random because it's sorted by clicks descending. So if I click impressions, that works. So it sorts it for ascending. If I click, it probably won't bloody do it now. If I click it again, it changes the arrow, but it doesn't change the sort order.
Okay.
And if I click it again, it does this. So it sorts it. So
yeah,
it sort of once it does it once, it works. But when you first do it on any of the columns, so like on rank, it does that. Then it doesn't work. Then it does work. And then it keeps working.
Yeah, I think the issue is probably in that, remember on page load, we're setting the state to sort descending for clicks.
Yeah.
And then I think what is happening is we just need to tweak the logic for any of the other clicks, because that one has that special, like we've already set it to descending.
Yeah.
So when our logic is set for like impressions or CTR, when you're clicking it, it's not already set to impressions descending or ascending. So we have to give it that first.
Okay.
So, yeah. So if you want to hop into the editor and the workflows.
Right, so we're on, so these are, ignore the ones that don't have 3 in front of them. So if we're here, for example, this is the clicks one.
Okay.
So, so that's the first one.
Okay, so when they click on the repeating group header, clicks 3 is clicked. Then sort list shifter is sorting by the clicks. The clicks is working because it's the default one. Is that right or no?
Yeah, well, why don't we? Well, I think it is. So let me.
So if we just refresh the page.
Yeah. Ignore that. That's something else. Don't worry about that. Right. So that's set that way, but it does that without us doing anything. If I click it, then it changes it. Yeah. So clicks appears to work, which, like you say, would indicate that it is that fact that this is the state that's set on page load, wouldn't it?
Right. Perfect.
So let's leave
and then
clicks alone then.
Yep.
And then CTR.
Okay. Awesome. So when repeating group header CTR3 is clicked, so the sort descending no. So explain the step one to me, just so I understand what your thinking was.
Well, you did this, to be fair, so I'm not sure I totally understand it. But basically, it just says, okay, when I click the header, which is basically all of this bit, then tell list shifter to sort the list by CTR and tell it to make it effectively ascending.
Right, and then step two is making...
To set the state to CTR descending, confusingly.
Yeah, that's probably where our issue is.
Because this makes
I
it
don't...
ascending, doesn't it?
I don't remember doing this, but okay. Let's see.
Well, it was one of you guys. I thought it was you, but
Gotcha. So it seems like if we're saying descending no, then just switching that step two to ascending instead.
Yeah.
But let me ask, what do you want to have happen? Because the other two things that you have here is where it's like group RG header 3 is clicked, and then you're saying what to have happen if it's ascending or descending.
I'll show you. So,
I think.
Go on, sorry.
I think what we need to do is on that first one, we need to just have only when. And
for the state.
Which state are we doing? Where is test list shifters sorting is CTR? Yeah, so only when, and then test list shifters sorting. Is not. And then CTR ascending.
Okay, yeah.
And then an and operator after that. And test list shifter sorting is not CTR descending. And then when they first click on it, I'm assuming you want to set it to descending, not ascending, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then in step one of this, you would make it descending yes, and then change step two to match so that it'll be descending. Okay. And then here we have test list shifters. It's not. Oh, actually, copy that only when, and then clear it because we want that to go on the workflow and not in the action.
Okay. What? So create another step?
No, if you click on the workflow up at the top, the one that doesn't have a condition on it, the very first workflow in dark pink. Yeah. Click there and put the only when, like copy it there.
I see what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, so now we have the three conditions. If it's neither of the other two conditions, then you're going to set it to descending. If it's already one of the other two conditions, you're just going to toggle it to the others. So let's preview and see if that works.
Oh, that looks promising.
Awesome.
Cool. Okay. So and I still need all of this stuff, do I? The other steps?
Yes, you do, because you need 3, and the reason you need 3 is because you have to set the state initially if we weren't already sorting by CTR.
Got you. Okay, right. So I can just apply that to the others on my own. That's fine. That's cool. So related question then. is I then try to apply, I mean, obviously I know the logic is wrong, but I then try to apply the same thing to a different page, which is pages. And this has got exactly the same steps in it we've just been through, albeit not the amended one, obviously. And if I click impressions, it sorts it down. But this time when I click it, however much I click it, it won't change it back, even though it's the same. Now, I was wondering, I can obviously now take this and copy it, but I was wondering if it's to do with, if you remember that in the option sets, we have this option set for the sorting conditions. Do I need a new option set per page? Is that what's causing it the trouble?
I don't think so, because I mean, essentially the sorting options is it's just text, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a way of setting a text in a state, so you can use that in your conditions on the repeating group or in the list shifter.
Yeah.
So I don't think you need a separate option set. I think you can just add to that option set as you need to.
Yeah. Okay. It's weird that it doesn't do the same thing then, isn't it? But okay, what I'll do is I'll take that one you've just amended, which was CTR, wasn't it? I'll apply that to the others on test list shifter, then apply them to the pages, and then I'll see where that gets me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Right, thank you for that.
Yeah, no worries. Sean, do you have questions today?
Yeah. All right. So the thing I'm wrestling with is only visible on a phone. So I'm going to actually try to mirror my phone screen and then share that. And I don't know if this actually works or not, but let me give it a shot.
Another option that we've had when similar limitations have happened is you can log in without audio on your phone and just share your phone screen.
Oh, cool. Okay, well, maybe let's try this first. Can you see my phone screen right now?
I think so, yes.
Okay, perfect. Then that will hopefully work. Okay, so I made a ton of progress, by the way. I got Discourse set up. I created login functionality, and I got SSO enabled. So now people can create an account on Problematic, and then it automatically will set their account up in Discourse, and they're unified. So they only have one login for both, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
The question I have is just really weird. Like, so I use this sidebar slider thing, this hamburger menu, which is a plugin, and it works great for these other links. It'll actually open up Trello for each of these, which is cool. But then on discussion forum, it works on the web version, but it doesn't work on mobile. It just reloads the page for some reason, but it's exactly the same link. So now that you can see that happening, I'm going to close out of the phone and show you how it does work here on the web version. It actually does go to the right place.
Huh.
So it's super weird. And in the editor, like, I can't see anything. Here. Yeah. So I mean, it's just set here. It's one URL, which is there shouldn't be any like conditional whether it's mobile or not. So I don't know what's going on.
Got it. Let's go to let's go back to the page on your computer screen. So go ahead and click into that tab, and then right click on anywhere on the page and click inspect.
Okay.
And then what we want to do is click over, you see the menu at the top of the inspector part of the page. On the very left, the second icon is kind of a big rectangle. Yep, that one. Click there. And then go up to the top where it says dimensions responsive.
Yep.
And click into, actually, if you click the drop down menu, you just want to choose like a phone, one of the phones. Okay, so now if you actually go to the settings of the of the inspector, we should be able to put it onto the right side of the screen so we can see better. So I think in settings on the inspector.
Where's that?
So if you go down to that menu line again, on the right, there's a gear icon.
Oh.
And I think you can say to put it on the right. Mine automatically defaults to the right, so I haven't played with this setting in a long time. Sources.
Let's see.
Maybe if we...
Location? No.
Maybe if you click out of here and it said layout, maybe it would let us do it from there, but I'm not sure. Layout. Oh, panel layout, appearance, panel layout. It says auto, so click where it says auto on the first column under appearance. Panel layout.
Oh yeah.
It's if you come out.
No,
of
it's
here,
not.
Yeah, come out of here. I've just done it on mine to see where it is.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, if you click out of here, yeah.
So click next to the gear icon, click those three dots, the three vertical dots, and then that dock side is what you want.
There you go. Oh, okay, that's better. All right, and now maybe refresh the page because I think it should probably show us larger than that.
Just change the percentage. So up at the top where it says 32%.
Oh yeah, it says 32%. Make that 100. Okay. There we go. All right, so now try the same click and see what it does.
Yeah, that worked.
So that worked. And you're using an iPhone 12 or are you using something else?
I'm on whatever the latest one is. I think it might be
13.
13. Okay. I'm just wondering if there is if something in the responsiveness is like occluding that button click and they're actually clicking a link to go to the same page instead. Is there, do you have a link to the same page? Like, is there a link to where it's loading or no?
No.
Okay.
No. These are all just three independent links, each set up. Yeah, there's nothing else.
I might report that one as a bug because I see what you're saying. There's not a conditional that would say to treat it differently based on page width or anything like that. And one of the tips that I use for myself for when I'm debugging is I think to myself, how could I make this, if this was the feature that I wanted, how would I make it happen? And if I can't think of how I would make it happen on purpose, then I would probably report it as a bug to Bubble and just see if they can help you out. Sometimes with plugins, they're a little less helpful. So you might have to ask the plugin author. But it might be, I can't see that you're doing anything that...
So I get the same problem on an iPhone XR, if that helps at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why is it
how do I get my regular screen back at this point?
Oh, yep. So go. Yeah.
Just refresh. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so you're just saying report it to Bubble, and if they push back because it's a plugin, then maybe like plugin author will have their own support.
Yep, and then the other alternative, if you wanted to skip all of that, is we can recreate the functionality for you. Like you don't technically need a plugin for that functionality.
Oh, okay.
For the slide in menu, you could use a floating group, and you can animate it to slide in like that, and you can do your own links with buttons.
Well,
yeah.
Let me take a crack just because it's already set up. It'll probably be the easiest if I try that first, but that's good to know. All right. I guess related or other on the mobile thing, like it looks great here, but there's like a weird space. Let's see. And for some reason, like the player doesn't render here, but like when I open this up on my phone, it's putting like the space underneath here, and then the player is down here. So when it should be the opposite. The player should be right below the episode, and then there should be like a little margin, and then it starts the next episode.
Sean, just before you go into that, I get the same problem on my desktop with that discussion forum link.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, and why is the URL got the question mark on login equals and then a load of numbers? I wonder if, is it to do with whether you're already logged in or not? I wonder if that's causing the problem.
You know what? I wonder if there's something in the forum SSO thing that kicks it back to the homepage. Like if you were just to type in forum.problematic.app and try to go there, does it kick you back to the homepage?
Yep.
Okay, so then that's not plugin related.
Not a mobile issue. I can show you, and it's got this weird, if I share my screen a minute,
okay.
It's got this weird, so if I go back a minute, where's it just gone? So if I go back to your homepage, so that URL is clear, yeah? And then if I click discussion forum, brings me back to the same page, but it's now appended this on login stuff. I wonder if that's something to do with the problem that it's expecting me to be logged in and I'm not, so it's bringing me back here or something.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, this leads me to believe that it's something with like the single sign-on for discourse, and maybe somehow it wants you to be logged in before it'll let you see the discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, well, could I, if that's the case, my options here.
Yeah, we can make conditions on that click such that if they're not logged in, instead of going to that link, like full stop, they could go to whatever they need to sign on first.
Yeah, well, I just used like that reusable group for the pop-up that does the sign on login. So maybe I just open that if they're not already logged in.
Yep.
Okay. I think I can I can definitely figure that out because it's a workflow. Cool. Awesome. All right. Yeah. I mean, my only other thing is that weird space on, I don't know why the spacing is the way it is on the homepage.
And you're using the new responsive editor?
No, I'm still using the old engine. Should I be switching to the new one?
Yes. You don't have to switch all at once. You can do it in stages. And then those sorts of things are a lot easier to manage in the new responsive editor than they are in the old one.
Okay.
Because you can conditionally like make things in the order that you want to. You can drag things around in the elements tree in the new responsive editor. So that also makes it a little bit easier.
So is that like a one-way street when I upgrade to the new responsive editor? Like, should I be making a backup of the project, or do I kind of just commit to it and fix whatever breaks when I do that?
So I would if you're going to do it, I would take it a page at a time probably, and just create a new page in the new responsive editor and then sort of recreate the page. I think that's a lot better than converting the page. I've heard only frustration about trying to convert a page to the new responsive editor with existing design and things on it.
Okay.
But the nice thing is you can use reusable elements that are done in the new responsive editor. You can place those reusables on a page that is not converted to the new responsive editor, and they will work properly.
Okay.
And vice versa, you can use an old responsive reusable on a new responsive page, and it will work properly. So it gives you a little bit of flexibility in terms of being able to build something new and build it into with the new responsive editor, and then you can just place it on the old responsive page and expect it to work properly. So that's probably how I would tackle your specific issue, is I would take that section that's not rendering properly in mobile, recreate it in a reusable, and then delete the related things from the page and replace them with reusable that you created.
Got it. Okay. No.
And then you've never worked with the new responsive editor?
No, not yet.
Let me give you a brief tutorial because it's very cool. So one of the first things is we have a cheat sheet at NoCoders Flex Guide, and I'll paste this in the chat. This Flex Guide was written right after the new editor was released, and since they released it, we now have, although I don't think he talks about margins here anyway, we now have padding in addition to margins available. And so essentially what this Flex Guide is teaching us is what these container layouts mean. And what I mean by that is the first thing to do to convert anything to new responsive is to click this and then click that button. So click on the responsive editor portion and then click upgrade to the new responsive. Okay. If you already have element, what was that?
That does that for your whole app, or is that on a per page?
Per page, per reusable.
Okay.
So you can see all of the blue stuff is on the old responsive editor, and I only have this one page on the new one. So.
Got it.
But I personally, when I'm building now, I don't build outside of the new responsive. I only build in the new responsive.
Cool. Yeah, I'm super early. I'm only literally like 2 pages. This application is super simple right now, so it's not going to be hard to convert it.
Sure, that's awesome. So the first thing when you convert to the new responsive, you have to decide the layout of your page, and you want to work from the biggest perspective of your page down to the smallest perspective. So, and what I mean by that is when I double click outside of the building area here, it brings up my page element, and you'll notice that this looks different than you're used to, because it used to say appearance and then conditional and then transitions, and now it says appearance, layout, and conditional. This layout is where we handle all of the responsive stuff. And then each container on your page, and the page is a container, any of your groups are containers, you can say what you want the layout of it to be. Fixed is the closest to what the old responsive editor was like, but it's not responsive because it's fixed. So the two that you will use primarily will be column and row. And the difference is if I choose to make something a column, when I'm placing other things on, the page, they will stack up vertically. Okay. If I instead went to my page here and I decided I wanted to make it a row, then they will stack horizontally.
Okay, so I'm just trying to get my head around what's going on, because like normally when you draw something on the page, it just stays where you draw it. But you're saying now with this builder, it's going to stack everything.
Exactly, it's going to stack everything, and that's what makes it more responsive than the old editor. Is in the old editor, you had to say, okay, this is how I want everything laid out, and you'd put it exactly where you wanted. And then you would have to input a lot of different things on the page as spaces and placeholders, and then try to use conditionals and this responsive section, but in the old editor, to kind of give it rules on what it was going to do with everything. The new responsive editor sort of makes the rules explicit right in the beginning of how things are going to behave. So I know that if I preview this page, I see my 3 buttons, and it won't let me get smaller than this, so I'll just use the inspect instead. So I'll come down here. Oh, maybe I'll just make it responsive here. And then I come here, and then as soon as I hit my limit here, it starts pushing things underneath.
Got it. Okay.
And because everything behaves in a predetermined, easy to understand once you've had a little bit of practice, and that's what the cheat sheet will help you do, is it's helping you understand how things will behave based on your choices in the layout section. Then you can start achieving the functionality that you want for responsiveness.
Okay. So does this, I'm just thinking out loud, but does this mean that I likely need to kind of use more containers? And like, I don't really make a lot of use of containers right now. I just draw the page the way I want it to look. But it seems like with this, the way this works, I need to kind of almost map it out with containers and spacing to get it to look right.
Yes, and that seems harder to you because so far you haven't been using containers to achieve responsiveness. But ultimately, the reason everyone was super excited for the new responsive editor to come out was because we were actually doing more containers to achieve the responsiveness we needed before than we have to now. So,
okay,
but
cool.
Yeah, but that's a good approximation of what you're going to experience. Is you're going to have to be thoughtful about grouping things. Then the other thing would be just be aware that, like right now, this is button A. So if I just say A here and B and C. Right now, button A is up at the top of the elements tree because it's the first thing in this row container. So if I want to change them, I can just drag them around from in the element tree, which you cannot do in the old responsive editor.
Yep. Cool.
And
awesome. Right. Yeah. Like I said, I don't have a lot of bad habits to break at this point. And just if this is how the best way to do it, then I'll just learn this method.
Sure. And then just be aware of this. If I want to make the B button come after the A button, because this is going to be directly related to that space that you have coming where you don't want it, is you're going to have to play around with which one comes first and which one goes to the end. And you can do that in your elements tree and also in your layout section. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thanks for that.
Yeah, no worries. John, you have another question?
Yep.
I do not, and I actually have to drop off for another call, but thank you. This is super helpful. I'm sure I would have like banged my head on this for many hours to get to this point. So thanks.
Yeah, no, thanks so much to John for helping. I appreciate that catch.
See you later, cool. Sean.
All right, we'll see you guys.
Bye.
I have to get better with my J's.
Yeah, your J's and your X's sound the same. Right, now, I think that, well, either I'm going mad or Bubble's going mad, and I'm not sure which. So I was playing with this earlier, and I cannot for the life of me work out what's wrong with it. So if I click these, this clicks works, this impressions works, blah, 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 blah. If I click CTR, nothing happens. So if I come out of here for a minute and click CTR, the impressions one appears. And if I do inspect, he says, if I can get it to work, you will see that if I could find it, that when I click CTR, it actually brings up the impressions one. And rank doesn't work properly either. So that, even though I've clicked CTR as the impressions one, rank doesn't click anything at all. And this new CTR doesn't do anything because I've been playing. Now, I think I'm going mental. So there's the impressions one. And up here, annoyingly, it puts these up here. So that's the impressions one. And that says reference element impressions drop down, which is what that is called. So that's correct. If I click the CTR one, that's called CTR drop down N, just so I can see what it is. So if I go to whichever one it was, CTR. So just for info, I've put test so I can see it. So that is referencing CTRN. So that should be what appears when I hit that CTR, and it isn't. It's the impressions one.
Okay, so go to the workflow.
I've deleted it, recreated it, done all sorts of things. I don't think there's any workflow, unless I've got it wrong. I don't think there's any workflow involved.
Yeah, you have to toggle the group focus. So there's a workflow.
Okay.
So if you click where it says, yep, there you go. So toggle, that's why.
Ah, damn. I don't remember doing that. Right. Okay. Fine. Oh, that's about an hour of my life wasted earlier then. Right. Thank you for
that. we aim to save those hours for you as much as we can.
Right. Next question then, given I've got you to myself for a little while, is this. I did have it working earlier. I can't remember if I've got it working now. So if we do impressions, so 30 to 70 or whatever it is, I think it works. Yeah. What I need is at the moment, if I want to, as a user, reset it to be everything, I have to basically come in here, delete this and hit apply, which obviously isn't what I want. So what I'm thinking is put some sort of reset text here underneath the apply button. And when they click the text, it resets this. So I haven't even attempted that yet, but given we've got a bit of time, I wonder if we could do that. So if I do group focus impressions, drop a text in it, if it will let me. Where did that go? Nowhere.
I'm sure it's there. It must just be underneath something or hidden.
Yeah.
Let's go into the group focus in the elements tree and open it up. It really didn't put the text there. It must have put it on the page. That's weird.
But where is a mystery? And it didn't pop up the editor. So.
You're pretty good at naming your stuff. So if you just type in at the element search, just type in text, we should be able to find it. And it will be the one that doesn't have a name. It'll be like text and a whole bunch of numbers, like letters after it. Yeah.
It's not that one.
Not that one.
I don't think it's put it on there.
Oh, that's very strange, Bubbles. See, you're not going crazy, John.
Well, I was over the other one, to be fair. But no, they're all real things, aren't they?
Yeah. All right, we can try adding a new text in the group focus. So
it's a shame that you can't sort of take this and drag it into here using the elements tree, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Be nice. So if I try, right, okay, it seems to have got focus this time, he says.
And then I would drag it instead of just clicking. I would just, even if it's really small, I would just drag it on there.
So there you go. Right, watch this. So that's it dragged. Let go. Nothing.
Huh. I would refresh my page.
Yeah, let's just see if anything's. No. probably find 20 text things in there now.
Probably, or more. Sometimes it goes really nuts.
All right, now it's moved them down here as well. This has been bugging me all day. So sometimes they're up in that top corner, and then other times they're where they
yes.
Yeah. Right.
If
so
you just
try here. Aha. Right. Okay. So if I make that next, okay, and if I just make that reset for now. Okay. Okay. Right, that will do for now. So let's say that that's the thing that they're going to click. So I presume it's a workflow, is it?
Mm-hmm. So I want to know first, if you go to the workflow on the apply button.
Yeah.
We're doing it with the setting of the states. And so the pages, the custom state. Okay, so if you copy this, just right click and copy, and then go back to design and go to the workflow on the text.
They're back where they were now.
Oh, bubble.
Mm.
And then paste that. And then just delete the values. No, oh, sorry, undo that. Just click undo. Oh, yeah. And then just clear out those expressions. Because what you're doing is essentially you're just setting those custom states back to empty.
Cool. Right. Okay. Now then, let me just remember where filters, I think it is. Yeah. Let me go back to that. So I'm trying to be a bit more organized because I get lost with workflows as to what's where. So I've started to group them all a bit better.
Yep.
So, okay, cool. So
when you start noticing that your editor is getting sluggish, the way that we will refactor to help that is we're going to start using more reusables. But the more workflows and elements that you have in a single page, the slower your editor will be. It also makes a difference to page load, but you'll especially start to notice it in the editor.
Okay. Oh yeah, that works. Cool.
Now we just also need to add to that to clear the inputs above.
Yeah, okay.
So just if you click to add an action.
Yeah.
Element actions. Yeah. And reset inputs. There you go.
Oh, that's it, is it? Right, okay, cool. That was easy. Some things are a lot easier than you think in Bubble, and then other things you think would be easy are...
And they're not. They're hard, yes.
10 to 20. Apply. Reset. That doesn't clear it. Did I put it on the right thing? Text reset.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. So go ahead and delete step 2 because clearly that's not working. So what we'll do is click to add an action, and then element actions, reset data. And then let's see if we reset the data on the group focus, if that will work. And so it's the group focus impressions. Isn't that the one we were working with?
think it was clicks, wasn't it? Yeah, it's clicks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, clicks, yeah.
Okay. Group focus clicks drop down.
Oh, have I got 2 group clicks? Okay. Okay.
Well, let's see if that works.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome.
That works. Good. Okay. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, what else can I help with?
Trying to think what else I've got. Well, I know what else we can fix. Right. So this is another one where you have to sort of watch the page. Now, I think I know the problem here. I just haven't bothered to fix it yet. So when I load this page, and it's going to do it wrong this time. Yeah, it's annoyingly done it. Right, so if I go to pages. Okay, so you can see there, you can just see that it says SC domain, and I know that that says Far Side Africa, which is that one. But the data is actually showing for Neural Candy. So it's showing me probably that one. Now, I think that's because Neural Candy is the default in the API call. So I need to get around to sorting this so that it actually goes to the one. So I think that in here, I think this is the problem. Choices source GSC. Default value, what's that? Oh yeah, no. So site first entry, right. So that, okay, so it's not what I thought then. So that should be set to there. Okay, so that is that. And then Y is, so let's go back to pages as an example. So it's telling me that that drop down is defaulting to the first thing in the drop down, but the data it's giving me is for something else. So even though that says get it from the properties. So there's something weird going on.
And it works if you change it.
Yeah. So if I change that to be ProCopy tips as an example, then there you go. So you can see the site name, ProCopy tips. That's fine. So it's just on that first load that it goes wrong.
Okay, so
I'll reload it again. So there you go. You see, this time it set it to ProCopy tips. So quite why it's changed the order of these is a bit of a mystery, but that might be to just do with the order. It may be in a random order from the API.
Yeah, from the API. So let's
even so, it's still got the wrong. So this doesn't correlate to that.
What would you? Okay, so what would be your preference for the selection?
I think just have it go to whatever the first in the list is. I think is probably the most logical.
Okay, and then and it's working. They must be loading. They must be loading at different times.
I think it's always defaulting, and this is why I think it's to do with the default that's in the API. It's always defaulting to Neural Candy, which is, if I go to the API, is the default in the API. So if I go to, say, get keywords as an example, that value is
neural candy.
So that's the default value. So I'm guessing that somewhere buried in here somewhere, I've got an API call that isn't obeying the default value.
Isn't filtering. Or what's happening is it's an empty value and we're on the sort of the repeating group, we're ignoring empty constraints. In which case it's just showing you the default one first.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what I would do is so we're setting the state of the header. The header is going to be set to the value of that drop down. And then we're referring to the header's state to filter the list.
Yeah.
And it's not working because I think when the page is loading, that state hasn't been set yet. And so the repeating group.
Sorry, what you just made me think when you're talking about state. So here is a default value of neural candy. So that state is set to neural candy. So I wonder if this is causing it a problem.
If you do, yes, just delete that.
So have no default.
Yep, no default, and just see how that works.
No, still doing the same thing.
Can
I set the default state to be, can I reference its own thing?
No.
You can't put dynamic values in, can you?
But you can on page load, you can set the state of the header to be that value. So let's do that. So let's go to
the properties. Okay. GSC latest date, right? We don't need that. Can come out actually in a bit. Floating group header start date, set states, date range. Right, ignore that. Right.
Oh, okay. You could set all of those in the same step because you can always set another state, and they're all setting states on the same element.
Okay, so let's do it because I can get rid of some of these. I don't need this. Now we've changed the way that works. All the date picker stuff. Half of these I don't need, so I need to go through and I can get rid of this GSC latest date. So I'll tidy this up later then. So let's add it to this one then. So set another state is going to be floating group header, isn't it? No. Custom state, right?
We have to go see what your
GSC.
We have to go see what list shifter or that. Yeah, is a GSC proper.
Yeah, is the name of the state in the header. Yeah.
Okay, and so now we want that drop down value. Drop down GSC. Second one from the bottom.
You know the names of these better than I do. Okay, value, site URL.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now let's just try it and see if that works. Nope.
Okay. Well, because now
maybe.
So now that's for why it's random is God only knows. I might need to do something that makes this sort it out.
You can filter it. I'd probably filter it, or I'd probably sort it alphabetically.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that because it's going to get confusing for people if it keeps moving around. So let's just try this first, though. So if I now go to summary, let's see what happens. Okay. No. No. So that is now telling me it's this, but it's still neural candy.
Neural. Well, we
set the state on a different page though, didn't we?
No, it's still we're setting the state on the header.
Yeah.
So, but let's go back to the pages instead and just.
I wonder if one's loading more quickly than the other. I wonder if this, you see now
Well, that seemed to work.
That's done it. Because I've never had that come up by default before.
And if you refresh the page, it was working before. You have to like click preview to get it to break. Is that right?
You see that works as well. So that's the first time that's done it. So that weirdly appears to work on this page and not on the summary page.
On the summary page, let's go back in the editor, go to the repeating group and or list shifter.
Just make sure I'm not doing anything silly there. No. Okay. So that is this table, and that is coming from now that is what's in here. No, headers GSC. Okay, let's make sure. So that's where that's coming. The data that we're seeing is coming from. So it's right there. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, so they're all set to be header. Weird. Why don't we fix that drop down so that it's alphabetical all the time? I wonder if that will help it.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a good idea.
Okay. So can I do something in here? Sort. Do I do more?
If you click more and then sort.
Site URL. Yeah.
Yep. And then descending no.
Okay. You see default value. First
and then you can copy the choices source in there and then just add first item to the end.
To the end, sorry. So copy that.
And then paste it in the default value. You just right click and click paste.
Oh, I see what you mean. Right. Yeah.
And first then the more is first item.
Got you.
Yep.
Okay. Right. Let's see if it stops bouncing around.
Well, yeah, I think there's definitely a timing difference.
Yeah, that seems to have broken it, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Now it's working, right?
So I think that's what was breaking it before as well. This just kind of like broke it in both places at the same time. Yeah. So I think that
this call is happening too quickly for this to do its thing.
Yes, and I think what we need to do is on
well, I'm wondering. It's interesting that this loads, isn't it? God only knows which website that is, but okay.
Yeah, it's just a race condition. So we just need to figure out how to keep that repeating group from doing anything until it receives the its signal from that state. Or if we're always going to default to the alphabetical, like the first order in the alphabet, then we can set the we can go ahead and set the repeating group to the same default, being alphabetically first, so we know they'll match up.
Yeah, that's probably easiest, isn't it?
Yeah, and then you can do it from there.
Yeah, so no, that makes sense. So just in case this changes this, so I can sort that out. That's cool. I think that makes sense. My longer term, well, my near term plan before I go live is I don't want people to be able to access an unlimited number of websites. So, someone could have 100 sites in here. So what I want to be able to do is they will pay, the plan will determine how many sites they can see in here. So my plan, if I just talk you through this, is to basically, I've got the page doesn't exist, but I'll have a settings page. And my idea is you go to the settings page before you get into this, and you have this drop down that says, okay, here are all the sites that you could access. Pick the ones you want to use in your plan. So let's say you're on a plan that only allows you to have 2 websites. You'd pick the 2 that you want. And then this drop down would always be the 2 that comes from this settings page, if that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so so that when we do that part, it might change the way this thing works.
And then it will also probably you could even have them, if they're setting which websites they want to pull in, you could probably even have them set the order.
Yeah. Which one do you want to have as your default kind of thing?
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So I'll have a okay, that makes. So I'll set this for now to be the same logic as this, i.e. first one alphabetically, and then I will build out the skin of that settings page to do this pick from the listing, and then maybe in a week or so's time we can go through that part in terms of working out how that settings page works and then feeds this. It should be, I think, fairly straightforward, he says. Yeah. Because we probably need to store that. We're going to need to store those values in the database, aren't we?
Yeah, we would have to, because we need to remember them from session to session.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right. I think we're running over time. Thank you for that.
Hey, no problem. We're going to move into...
We've fixed quite a few things there, haven't we?
Yes, we were productive.
Yeah.
We're going to move into...
Try and remember them now. What episode number are we on, for when I forget them I have to rewatch it?
We're on 280, and then if you want to see the episode before we air it next week, you can just give me a ping, and I can grab the link for you and send it to you.
All right, cool. Yeah, because I don't need to see my beautifully edited self, do I?
No. Well, we don't. Most of the time, we don't edit, as long as we're not accidentally showing sensitive
API
data.
keys as usual.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Awesome. We're going to move into after hours. If you want to join us for the after hours session, which is where we turn on our cameras, say hello, turn off the recording, you have to become a member of NoCoders. So go please to pronocoders.com and check out the developer membership. We'd love to have you. We'd love to see you and learn all about what you're building on Bubble. Thanks so much for watching.